profit taking could be seen?
Sonia, today is the mean reversion trade. We spoke about it, the banks, and the ones which fell because of the whole UK issue. Look at Tata Motors. I think that could well be the stock of the first hour from here on. That had a breakaway gap. So I think today you focus on some of the underperformers of last 3 or 4 days. They are going to give you a good bang for the buck, because now you have to see where are the shorts, and I think those are the shorts which will be now sent to cleaners. And that's why I'm watching out for Tata Motors. I'm watching out for the Bank Nifty, because it straight away opened above 30,000. So there would be a lot of shorts here. So those would be covered. Something like, say, a Motherson Sumi. I think you've already seen what happened to Indigo over the last 2 days. There's been a lot of short covering. So I think these are the kind of stocks that you want to focus on as far as today's trade is concerned. And of course, the Bank Nifty. But really, for me, the stock to watch from here on could well be Tata Motors. ADR also was up about 4.5%. Mitesh, your thoughts on market opening, and is there any trade here?
See, I think the market has opened, better than SGX indicated and close to what the pre-opening was suggesting, and it's done a gap up. So I think the yesterday's high becomes the stop loss, which is 13,620, 619 actually, and 13,690, I think that was the level which I was watching out for as the first target area. I think we are practically there, but let's assume that this will continue to show strength. I think then we should definitely retest the recent highs of 13,770, 780 zones, and then maybe even cross them. So I would stay positive, add on to stocks long positions. We haven't done much on the index, but if somebody has that, 13,620 becomes your revised stop loss.
Any thoughts on Tata Motors before we thank you, Mitesh?
See, Tata Motors, had a decline till about 160 odd levels and then has come back into a lot of strength. I think I am looking at this rally to head towards first levels of around 177, and beyond that, I think there's a monthly supply point at about 186, 188 zones, which is where the stock had peaked out. I think that could be revisited.
Mitesh, thanks a lot for those trading ideas. Ajay Srivastava is now joining us, CEO of Dimensions Corporate Finance Services. Ajay, good morning. All-time high valuation and all-time high liquidity. So what do you do in this market?
Well, all it does is to make it a lovely Christmas, except if you're in Delhi, there is no Christmas to talk about with the pollution that we have here. So first of all, wish you all a very wonderful Merry Christmas. I never thought this Christmas would be like this. It was like doomsday a couple of months back, and it's been fantastic. So I think what you do now, and really speaking, Anuj, is don't do too much. Because if you overthink this rally, if you overanalyze, and we saw what happened in the 48 hours back, people who jumped the ship saw the ship sailing faster away. So for the time being, there is no reason to revisit your strategy. You got to be careful. Of course, as I keep saying that, don't get misguided by some of the smaller stocks, which are going to give you rallies, but may not give you exits at any point of time. But I think by and large, what the market is also doing is sensibly is building upon industrial theme, building upon infrastructure theme in terms of cement, etc., which you saw today rebuilding happening. Metals have come back to the fore. I think broadly speaking, that's where the market is now basing its thing out, that the Indian economy should bounce back next year, and some of these sectors should kind of pick up steam. So I think don't do too much about it, except the fact that if you feel not confident about a stock, Anuj, this is as good as time to get out on the New Year's and start afresh.
As everyone's been saying, use the rally to get out of your mistakes. Ajay, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. There are a lot of people who will be living by their monthly salaries like we do. While we can't buy stocks, others can. So what is the incremental purchase when markets are at all-time highs?
See, what this year has shown us two things. There's a couple of sectors in India which hold steady even in the worst scenarios. And we have seen that two sectors. One, of course, has come into the fore this year only, is not performed for 4 or 5 years, which is pharma, and then is technology. I think two things have borne out very clearly that these two can keep you going for a long time. So if, one needs to have a stable platform for investing from this base onward, I would still say that technology would be the first place I would choose to buy into it. And second followed would be pharma. Third would be banking, because, I keep saying this again and again, that if the RBI policy remains where it is, there is no way for banking but to go up at the end of the day. And number two is, we're going to see some consolidation. These 20, 30, 40 banks are not going to survive. Given what's happening to technology, given what's happening to cybersecurity, it'll be very difficult for the small banks to kind of compete in the market in the next 2 to 3 years. So that's the third sector I would say is banking. So put the money in three sectors. One place where I think it's important to say where not to put money, Lata. I would say don't get carried away euphoria. Hotels have never made money for anybody. It's the best of time. Look at last 20 years returns on hotels. Nothing for the owners, nothing for investors. Aviation stocks, yeah, sure, sometime like Indigo will give you a return, sometime arbitrage. But as a sector, if you look back and say now, look down and say, if Air India is acquired by Tata's, you're going to have a bloodbath kind of scenario in this market, and none of them will make money at the end of the day. So I think two sectors. And the last point is stock picking, if you can. Some of you can, of course, do it. Is go again for technology fronting stocks, because that is where the market is. You've seen what's happened to Affle, India March, and Info Edge, etc. You cannot not have a portfolio with technology in it.
Okay, Ajay, hi, good morning. Merry Christmas to you in advance. I know you're a foodie, so I'm going to ask you this. I know it's a tough choice, but do you prefer burgers or pizzas or biscuits, or do you like all three?
Well, burgers are any day, but not the ones which we get in India. So we all, so burgers would be the first choice by and large. And pizza, I love it because I keep ordering it from the same company because I own the stock and I want to contribute to it. But burgers, yes, but not Burger King.
Speaking of large, it reminded me Christmas time, so everyone would prefer a large peg to a smaller one. I mean, any of the alcohol stocks, Ajay, on a more serious note?
Okay. Okay, we have built back position. We had sold off everything, as I say, United Spirits sometime back. I mentioned to you last year, very disappointed with the management. And I said that on the record that if anybody cannot sell black label in India, that man needs to be shunted out. And I think that's what has happened. I'm sorry, I mean harsh, but that's what has happened. Now, I think the new management, we started building our positions back. There's only two stocks to buy, really speaking. Maybe Radico, okay, on the sideline, he will do well. But that's not really a mainline kind of thing you want to buy. So, Lata, the good part is, with just two stocks, you build your position in the liquor market, one on the softer beer side, one on the whiskey side. Now, if you're a believer in India and you believe that prohibition is not going to happen, then I think there's nothing better than Diageo. And under the new management, let's see what they do. The question is, liquor stocks in India has been the poor management of the companies more than fundamental. So we're building back position. We're not so much compared to earlier, but I think it's a good place to be for the next 2 to 3 years. As government also rationalizes duties, etc., realizes that we just can't tax it out of oblivion. I think it should be a good place. It's just two liquor companies, so not much to research.
Okay, by the way, the bank nifty is surging now, and the underperformers are beginning to participate. So Axis Bank is now back above 600, and a couple of other stocks also participating. But autos really, Bajaj Auto, Tata Motors, Hero MotoCorp, everything doing well. Motherson Sumi, all these stocks doing well. Ajay, what would be your top auto pick right now?
See, auto, I have always been for something like in the sector like Escorts, etc., because these are the focus companies. Otherwise, what do you buy, Anuj, in this company? You buy M&M, which is basically, again, tractors and trying to dabble into two-wheel automobiles at that point of time. Where is the third stock? Tata Motors has been a poor underperformer for decades now. It's not today. So you can't expect a stock to change its DNA. It's like NTPC. Tata Motors and NTPC are the same family. No matter what you feed into them, that thing will not run on the tracks eventually. They all go fat. So I think if you want to pick and choose auto, there are only two ways to pick it up. Either on the main line is these two. Maruti is too expensive. I don't like the cars. I don't like the company. So I don't want to buy Maruti. It's too expensive as a stock. So these two would be perhaps a better bet. If you go down the ladder of ancillaries, perhaps, you read Motherson, Sumi, etc. Sure, they are a good bets if all the world markets come around. But I'm not a great believer that 2021 is going to be an auto story for India. It's going to be a local domestic story and international stocks as a combination. So auto, if you want to buy, still be with tractors because government needs to appease farmers. Think about it this way. They need to appease farmers. And what better way is to give money to farmers who can buy tractors. So that's the place to be 2021, not the urban two-wheelers and urban motors.
Okay, now the market is picking up pace, not just the mid-caps, the Nifty as well is up almost a century now, 94 points to be precise. A lot of large caps are also participating. Axis Bank is up almost 1.5%, HDFC, Bajaj Finance, the entire finance piece is now coming together. The Bank Nifty is up 300 points. Ajay, I want to know what is the big theme that you're looking out for in 2021. I mean, as you said, 2020 was a year full of surprises. No one could have guessed which way it would have ended. But what is your best guess about how to approach 2021 in terms of themes and, say, stocks?
See, we are very clear that 2021, you need to keep building and keep adding exposure to the top banking names and finance names. Only the top. Bottom fishing is going to be only driven by M&A. It's not going to give you returns. It may give you arbitrage sometime or the other, but that's not a place to be. It's a top 5 bank. The world has shown that top 5 banks make money, and investment banking plus commercial banking. So the theme is going to be, really speaking, if you ask me, is going to be banks and the new technology stocks that are coming. And I think lots of them will be available in this year. We are seeing the whole pipeline of IPOs coming. So keep your money in reserve, because when these stocks come to the market, and lots of technology ones are going to come to the market, whether Byju's is going to come to the market, or if you don't have an India Mart, if you don't have an Affle, if you don't have an InfoEdge, Naukri.com may come to the market, Delivery may come to the market. So you need to keep, the theme is keep buying these stocks, because we have never got these stocks in India. There'll be a scarcity value. So do not try to buy only into regular market. Keep your money alive and separate and powder dry, because the theme is going to be technology front-ending stock, and you're going to get at least 15 to 20 options. Sonia, next year is going to be wonderful Christmas for most of these companies and employees next year, and so will be you if you buy these stocks. Do not go back to the old, small, harebrained stocks, which are smaller natures and run by operators. These are 10, 20 good stocks. By good PE funds are going to front-end them. Governance is not going to be an issue. You need to put money for buying them. So theme is technology, new IPOs in 2021.
That's clearly the life forward. Let's see how many of them come to the stock markets and allow us to partake of them. At the moment, it's largely for, private equity guys. Thank you very much, Ajay, for being with us on several occasions this year. Have a great 2021 yourself.
Same to you, all of you. Have a good New Year's.
Thank you. Okay, well, markets are on a high